Hello there. Thanks for coming by PosterCentral.com's video blog today. I'm Pete Howard, and isn't this a fun, interesting 1967 handbill from Britain, huh? The Walker Brothers with three people as an opening act, three acts, that sold a heck of a lot more records than they did eventually. It's just an astonishing lineup as, artists were getting going and establishing artists were carrying package tours. Just amazing. From April of 1967, a month-long tour of the United Kingdom, and you had the Walker Brothers as the established act. They had #1 singles in 1965, this is 67, so in 65 and 66 the Walker Brothers had #1 singles, and even as an American, one of them you should be pretty familiar with. It's this one. Yeah, that was a hit in America as well, but it was #1 in England. They just found much more success in England. And by the way, what's funny about the Walker Brothers is they weren't brothers. They weren't named Walker, and that's right, they weren't British. They were from Los Angeles. That's such a showbiz, right? What's it a name? I mean, we know he wasn't born Engelbert Humperdinck either. But anyway, so you had the headliner Walker Brothers, who had had those #1s the 2 previous years, and several other chart hits, But these 3 up-and-comers, Cat, Jimmy, and Engelbert, it's funny, they all had their first hit single in England enter the charts in January of 1967. Different weeks, but still that's kind of funny. All January of 1967, talking about Hey Joe with Hendrix, Matthew and Son with Cat Stevens, and Release Me with Engelbert Humperdinck. Walker Brothers, on the other hand, were in decline. That's right, they had only one more charter after this tour, and it was a relative stiff. It only peaked at #26. So, once again, such as showbiz. It's the established acts that sell the tickets, and the up-and-comers are trying to build an audience, and so they go along on the tour and play for peanuts, but get the exposure. So it's interesting because Jimmy didn't really fit in on this tour, which it doesn't take much of a musical rocket science to figure out. He was touring with a pop singles act, an acoustic singer-songwriter, and a ladies' man crooner. So interesting, in interviews Jimmy gave to the British musical press before the tour, he was a bit worried. He was thinking people would come out to see the Walker Brothers and wouldn't be interested in seeing him. By the way, I should not be completely dismissive of the tiny, tiny acts listed there above Engelbert, and that would be the Californians and the Quotations, and in the middle a compere, Nicky Jones, also known as an MC here in America. So Jimmy was apprehensive for sure about doing his thing, but something he did say in the British interviews, I'm just going to go ahead and do it anyway. And sure enough, he was playing with his teeth, playing it behind his head, humping his guitar, and yes, even setting it on fire. And the experience was mobbed by fans, carrying scissors, cutting away bits of their hair and everything, all while totally unknown in the United States. But of course, Monterey Pop would not be far off. Just, that summer he would explode in America through the Monterey Pop experience. So the Hendrix experience did just a 5-song set. You got a little package tour like this, you can't do an hour or anything. So they did Hey Joe, Foxy Lady, Fire, Can You See Me, and their new 45 ascending the charts, Purple Haze, which was headed for #3. But despite all that, look at the order of, with Jimmy creating such a ruckus and everything, look at the order the acts appear. This is from a program page on this tour. Oh, for heaven's sake, Jimmy is positively buried. He's in the first half of the show only, and he's got a Yuck Yuck MC appearing on either side of him, and then with no other musical interlude, there comes Engelbert Humperdinck, and it just seems so incongruous to us now. But that's, when you're starting out, you play by the promoter's rules and what their perception is of you and the marketplace and the stage show. So that's what happened. By the way, speaking of Engelbert, don't want to slough him off too much. I mean, that single that charted his first hit in January, Release Me, oh my gee, it charted, it was on the singles chart for over a year in England, 56 weeks on the British singles charts. Not even the Beatles or Elvis did that. Their longest one was like half that much. I think one was 28 weeks and the other was 31 weeks. And Engelbert, boy, of course, what it takes for a record to do that is a first single with a long, slow build, so you get the longevity record. So nobody's saying Engelbert was bigger than the Beatles or Elvis. 67. Okay, so anyway, this is, a genuine, original, unused handbill, which is really fun. And as you can see at the top there, it's from the March 31st, 1967 Finsbury Park in the UK. And I'm going to show you a few other samples now, which is really fun because it's the same, it's a tour blank handbill, which means the middle part is consistent, but I'm going to show you some others. And here we have, let me get over here to show these a little bit better. Here we have, so that was March 31st. This is April 1st in Ipswich. And then we go to, next we have April 5 in Leeds. The Who, of course, recording their famous live album there a couple of years later. Then we have April 8 in Chesterfield. These are all complete, unused handbills, by the way. Real original collector's items for sure. Then we have April 16. Remember, the tour was all of April. And interestingly, switching to venues, at the De Montfort Hall is an interesting name of a place for this tour to play in England. And then April 28th at the Adelphi, which was a chain, I believe, throughout England. And then finally, this definitely was a chain, April 30th at the Granada Theatre. And, it was an ongoing tour, so theoretically there are almost 30 of these handbills, and I just showed you like 7 different or so, 7 or 8. But it's interesting too because I thought maybe just the color portion, in fact, I should say I thought maybe everything from here down was the same, but the postal booking forms down there at the bottom, definitely, they followed a template, but they did differ for each venue. There was not a national organization receiving ticket mail orders. It was in each case going to the actual theater or venue itself. So that's, there's a lot of work obviously for each venue, but better than a national outfit, I suppose. Now, this is a nice handbill, but even nicer to most memorabilia collectors would be the poster. And they did make a poster, and it was a monster. It was huge, 40 by 60 inches. And I don't have the poster to show you, but I did print out a full-color picture I took of a genuine original poster from this tour, and it's from April 27th at Aldershot, England, to the southwest of London. But look at that thing, look at that. They got the pictures in there, that's good, of all the artists, but that'd be quite commanding on your wall and get a lot of laughs when people came into your place and said, "What?" They may not even know who the Walker Brothers were, and there's Hendrix and Cat Stevens opening for them. So that's why I get a big kick. In fact, would you like photographic proof this tour really happened? I'll tell you, sometimes you just got to offer it, to make sure that the naysayers come on board. There they are, backstage. You got Jimmy, you got Cat, you got one of the Walker Brothers, and you got Engelbert Humperdinck with this sort of a cigarette or something. So, hey, seeing is believing, right? This tour really happened. It wasn't long, just for 1 month, but boy, I'll tell you, the rest would be history, that's for sure. So, hope you enjoyed seeing it. Really fun to show you today. Thanks a lot for dropping by, and we'll catch you next time for something hopefully just as fun. Take care. Have a good day.